I'm just kind of made this. I think it's so we get the chance to explore nature, to learn from and support each other, to work hard, and we get to have fun. I think I have the best job in the world. I feel so thankful to be here, to be sitting in the room of experts. I feel a bit funny that I'm the one speaking, so really I want to learn from all of you.
Kak, ini Zoom apa? Okay, how's that? Better? Okay, please continue.
I will introduce myself. We already know before. I'm Fadri. I'm a conservation analyst from Lederlindu National Park.
Sure.
Terima kasih. I want to introduce myself. My name Laini. My position is as controller for the policy system. I have worked in Lederlindu National Park more than 18 years old. Yeah.
anak anak Sultan Assalamualaikum associate yes guided to walk here. I see that. That's all.
Yeah, thank you, Kak Rani.
Terima kasih. Perkenalkan, nama saya Muhammad Darmawan dari Balai Taman Nasional itu. Saya di bidang yayasan teknologi dengan Pak lain sebagai pengendali ekosistem. I want to introduce myself. My name is Juliano, and I student of Fahutan University.
Saya wabarakatuh. Ya, untuk untuk terus masuk dengan jadi guru Madinah guru masih apa dan saya Juliano ketika fokus serta
Ya, selamat semuanya. Perkenalkan, saya dari saya mahasiswa Fakultas Kehutanan dari Asosiasi semester 8. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you. My name is I'm from my own Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Morning, selamat pagi. Saya sebagai kurator ini saya tertarik dengan lembaga Fahutan dan mungkin cukup kita.
That's not my. I have my own. Okay, how's that? Huh? Should I? Yeah.
Sama Mary juga ya Pak. Mary.
Is it shared on Zoom?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, great. Okay, I think I'm gonna stand up for this one. Get the blood flowing. Okay, great. So the first presentation of the training is basically to go through the plan, yeah? So what are we gonna cover in the 3 days? What is the goal of the remeasurement campaign? Why are we here? what are the timetables, options that we have? Yeah. So how long do we think it's gonna take? When are we gonna be at certain areas of the national park? What are the field teams looking like? Yeah, what's the plan? Where are the plots located and what are the main activities? So just a big overview. We're gonna start with that. And then over the course of the next few days, we'll get more specific. Okay, so I did give a brief overview of the 3-day training. So right. That's thank you. Okay, I think I already gave a bit of an overview of the 3 days, so let's just jump in. Okay, so you've heard that there's a tree measurement and tree diversity plots, but what is that? Okay, so in 2011, Dr. Fabian, many of you know him already. Sorry for the echo for those online and in person. Okay, so 12 years ago, there was another SRT. Some of the species that were identified at that time. And then to understand all this will be integrated into what a human common system. The timeline of the field work is basically nothing. So we have training for this week. So next week we continue the training. And then I'm expecting that it's going to be about 6 weeks in the field after that first training block. So what we've done here is we've taken the plots of Fabian and we've grouped them. Right, yeah, so we can. Is that okay? Okay. We have this. Okay, I'll try. There. Let's see. Let me know if the sound is not enough, if I'm not. It's echoing though, yeah, maybe we can. Plots. And it's echoing again. Everyone. Okay, we have grouped them all based on the location. So after the training of the field, the first plot is going to be in Wausau. And it's this number 1 that begins, yeah, so S1450. We will be a larger group going to this plot, continuing the training, how to use the equipment, things like that. Then we will come back to Palu and then it really starts, yeah, so a few days for some planning and then we really go for it. So yeah, that is what we have. There is one option if we're a little bit faster than we plan. I think that we can already be finished by March 17th, but we'll just keep that in mind now. So February, March for the training and for the plan is to have 2 field teams and a total of 11 team members. So the first team consists of 1 national park staff from the it would be a staff member from the Untad area, and 2 local workers. The other team is going to consist of 2 National Park staff. So it's going to be Padri, from the office in Palu, and then a Bidan staff. Then there will be an IPG student. So Farron will be joining. Then we have a Untad student who will be joining. And 2 local workers. So yeah, the general concept of the teams is the same, right? So each one has a national park staff from the local areas that will kind of pick up as we go around the different areas of this park. And then also as we go, we will have local workers who are just both for setting up the camps and also helping the teams to collect data. Here's a little bit of a zoom in on the different plots. So one tip as you're looking at this map and kind of wrapping your head around it, the plot number also gives the elevation. So if you see plot S1650, it is 1,650 meters above sea level. So as you look at this, you can see they're quite steep heights for the team. So sometimes we're going to be hiking upwards of 2,000 meters. So we're all strong. I hope we can do it. And a bit of specifics about the plots themselves we have in this slide here. So here I want to highlight a few things. Aside from this site, you can also see how many trees and saplings are in these plots. So this is why, if you look at the schedule, you think, okay, why do we need 6-7 weeks to assess 13 plots, right? Why do you do that? This is exactly why. So I can already pass around some resources. There we have. Okay. So you can just take 2, pass it around. What I'm passing around now are what I'm calling the plot maps. So because this is a remeasurement campaign, we have a lot of really useful data that was collected beforehand. And so in each of these, you have the location, the tag number, species identification, and the relative size of all of the trees that were measured in 2011. Yeah, so that's coming around. So looking at that, I mean, you can get an idea of just how many trees you have to measure in this time. And as I go later into what variables we're actually measuring, you'll see that we have some work cut out for us. Okay, so in the field, we are assessing trees, rattan, and deadwood. All of these surveys have handwritten field sheets that we're going to fill out, but they all also have this collect mobile version. So in the field, we're going to be collecting data in the tablet and collect. But because I don't trust technology and I want to back up, we're also going to be filling in the field sheets. Okay, so here's a quick look at what collect looks like. So it can be installed in any Android device. We have large tablets, but it also works with a smartphone. And you just upload your survey, import it into your device. And here's what it looks like. Yeah. So for our plots, we want to calculate, okay, when did we arrive to the plot? Just type it in. What is the date? Type it in. How do we identify? Yeah, when we identify the species, just type it in. And right after that, as soon as you export that data, it's already ready to be analyzed. Okay, so now you all have the plot map, right? And looking at those, you can see quite a bit of information. You can already see what is doing. So the plots are a 40 by 60 meter plots. And they have subdivided 10 meter by 10 meter subplots. So that's 24 subplots within each. And it's pretty important to note they're not necessarily oriented north to south, but rather along slopes and things like that. So in the field, we have to find them and set the plots and make sure that we're aligned Within each of the 10 meter by 10 meter subplots, we tag, identify, and measure all of the stems greater than 10 centimeters. And then we also have a subplot, a 5 meter by 5 meter subplot for the small tree. So 2 to 9 to 9. In the tree survey, we record information about the plots, about the subplot. We assess whether the tree is a new tree or remeasured. Is it the main stem or is it a secondary stem? Is it dead? Is it alive? One of the really important parts are the tree types. So the way that is the key for us to link the old data to the new data. So this is really the most important part. You'll see later and tomorrow when we go through the different variables, there's a lot of variables about the tags, but that's just because it's so important. Then we get into the real meat. So what is the species? Is there a local name for this tree? Is it fruiting or flowering? And does it have any what we call special habitats? So is there a big gaping hole? Is there sap running down? Different things like that. And then of course deviation and shape and position of these trees. Okay. For rotten and deadwood, we assess the number of clusters and then the number of stems, right? So one cluster of rotten have multiple stems, we assess this. We measure the diameter, the length, and also the height of the cluster and the position. For deadwood, it's only deadwood greater than 20 centimeters. In the first campaign in 2011, they assessed all deadwood greater than 10 centimeters, and it was, according to Fabian, a disaster. It took so much time. Yeah, so we decided to make that a little bit more of a realistic number. Right. And then we also assessed class. So that was everything for the overview. I hope everyone has an idea about, hey, why are we doing this? What does it look like? How much time is it going to take? So we will be going into more detail. That's the whole point of the 3-day training. But if you have any immediate questions that are jumping out now, go ahead and ask. In the meantime, I'm going to pull up the schedule just so that we can get an idea of where we're at and date. Okay. Okay. So we were a little bit fast with the first session with the overview. And I think we can go straight into the coffee break. But how is everyone feeling? Do you need your coffee? Or let's do that. Okay. Yeah, I think we can pause for a quick coffee break. I think we don't need as much time until 11:30 because we're a little bit early. And then we can go into the logistics. Yeah. So the next session is very much discussion based. It's going to be all about, okay, how are we getting to the field? What are our camps going to look like? How do we organize all the equipment? So let's have some coffee.
Wait.
Maybe you can continue. Yeah.
No problem.
I think maybe we can well, yeah. So we have 1 hour break.
So.
Okay, good. Yes.
Yeah. And I think if my laptop is doing noise. Which will make it echo. Even though it's off.
Dia pakai mic di laptop enggak?
Matikan aja.
Matikan aja nih.
Speakernya
Itu yang mic ini.
It's off.
Ya.
Yeah,
Oke.
it's off. I don't know why it's off. So funny.
Volumenya ya.
Volumenya kecil sekali.
Udah mati.
Yeah,
Sudah.
Ya,
Begitu ya. Sudah dimatikan pakai dia.
alright.
Nggak tahu kenapa.
Ya.
Karena memang begitu.
Mir di sini saja bisa harus tidak kedengaran.
Ada satu itu.
Testing. Technology.
oh ya, boleh.
This is.
Ya.
This one. Testing. This is why. we use paper sheets, because I don't trust.
Volumenya kecil. Sedua. Cek.
Test.
Oke.
Even though that's still. Minus. The laptop is still making noise, even though it's off.
Nggak bisa.
Huh. Okay. Welcome back from the coffee break, everybody. I hope you enjoyed.
Nah yang ini nggak bisa.
Okay, we're going to jump into the logistics. So this is the part of the presentation where I tell you what I was thinking for how would we move around, how do we get from point A to point B? And then it's the part where you say, actually, no, in Indonesia, it doesn't work like that, it works like this. Or, I think it's a good idea, but let's try it this way instead, I think it's better. So, yeah, this is really directed for the people in the room who are really actively part of our teams. Yeah, the ones who are going to, help with coordinating a lot of this stuff. Okay. So we will start with how we're getting to the field. So the plan is that we are 11 people from 2 teams. There are 5 people joining directly from Fahutan. So this is myself, Audrey, Roland, Rahmat, and Baron. So in the field, we're going to need a car and also some motorcycle. Yeah, so my suggestion is that one car comes from Palu with the 5 joining. And I also included one motorbike, but I think it's actually better if those joining from the Vidan can come with a motorcycle. So in terms of who's making those decisions, I think it's a conversation with you, Audrey, and also with the National Park staff. So that's sort of my introduction to this session is, okay, how are we moving from point A to B? So Patrick, do you have any specific information from the National Park of what's available? That's all important information to know.
Mungkin dari teman-teman itu ada yang bisa bantu tentang ini apa kendaraan yang bisa dipakai, mobile di sana dari motor atau mobil. Kita sih bebas itu.
Terus itu kalau rencananya kita mau hari minggu depan kan, Senin,
Iya.
Minggu saya sudah di sana.
Sudah dicegah dulu.
Iya.
Oke. Untuk kendaraan yang kita
Jadi saya bahas dulu. Ada kendaraan yang lengkap kan? Saya tanya dulu. Dari kita sendiri ada kendaraan atau tidak? Jadi saya. Jadi contoh ini itu bantuan kendaraan lokal. Nanti mungkin bisa bicara dengan Pak Desa. Kira-kira mana yang bisa dibantu.
Okay, in communication with the staff of
Kemudian nanti ada
National Park, Mr. Cesar, about the mobile. Yeah.
In terms of the budget, there's budget for gasoline, there's budget to rent a car, but if we have one from the National Park, I think that's a much better option.
Bisa.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great.
Jangan kesana lagi.
Okay, the next piece of information that we have to coordinate is for the client account and what to pack. So for the 6 weeks that we're actively doing the fieldwork campaign, the plan is to stay in the forest and to stay in client camps. So my concept of that, and from what I've gathered from the conversations I've had, is everyone needs a tent. Everyone needs a sleeping bag, sleeping mat, bring your hiking boots, rubber boots, rain gear, and your headlamp, and your flashlight. I'm really happy to hear from people who have actually stayed in flying camps before. So yeah, what do we need to prepare? You know, what is available? Yeah, what should we still plan to buy? One of the big questions is about the tents. So in this case, are there also options from the national park, or is it something that we should plan?
Bagaimana soal tendanya dari National Park?
Aku tahu ini kan kita semua orang tua. Jadi pertanyaan.
Iya.
Sebenarnya tidak mungkin kalau kita tidak pernah tenda. Bisa kembali ke masing-masing. Pertanyaan sekarang sebagai kamu Mary di sini, Mary sendiri punya tenda atau tidak?
Iya, betul Mary.
Well, if we can borrow one, we've heard that we can borrow one.
Kembali ke desa lagi.
Yeah. We can also buy.
Dan bisa dijamkan. Tapi sama sebaiknya kita kembalikan sebagai orang tua ini bisa punya tenda. Bisa punya tenda. Itu keperluan keperluan dia. Tidak sama.
Even kalau about the pens, how you can use or rent maybe. Okay.
That's great.
But
Okay, then we have some more logistics in terms of the payment. So we have a daily allowance for the staff, for local workers, and for the university students and staff. So the logistics of that is that payment is made after that time of the clock. Yeah. So if you remember to the first presentation, we have these groups of plots. Yeah, so we go out for 1 or 2 weeks and we come back to college. We go back and then we come back to college. So for the local staff, the payment will be made in the field with a bank transfer or with an ATM. And for the rest, it's going to be on return back. As well. Okay.
In your field, we have two students from first faculty.
It is. Right, so we have one student, Rafa, from the biology faculty, and then we have the one from the Okay, so, right, I was also informed this morning from Fahutan that there are 2
Yeah.
additional students. Okay, in this case, we have to look at the logistics a little bit more, yeah? Because the 11 for the field team, yeah, the 11 people from the field team has already been decided, yeah. But I'm always happy to have, a discussion and to have more students who can also learn. Yeah, but I think that's I mean, that's all what this discussion is about, yeah. So, yeah, that would mean that we would have 7 joining from college. So, yeah, in terms of the 2 students joining, maybe you can share a little bit about the logistics and things like that.
nanti dia perlu melihat lagi budgetnya, biayanya bagaimana, apakah dan kita pun perlu lagi yang tambahan itu bisa separuh bagaimana nanti lah. Dia perlu lihat dulu dia nanti perlu diskusikan lagi karena dia baru dapat informasi dari pagi Pak. Ya, yang dari Untad ya ada orang. Oke. Karena ini tadi terkait dengan mobilitas juga kan, dengan kendaraan.
Kalau mereka bisa jalan di aman gitu.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I think that's a big goal of this training, right? Especially today, yeah. So today is all about okay, what are the logistics, yeah. If there are extra people wanting to join the team, how is that going to be implemented? I think that it's a fine idea to have 2 extra students join from Untad. But I think we just have to keep in mind, yeah, this is then 13 people in the fields, yeah, which will be a bit more logistics and coordination and all of that. One of the most important parts about all of the payment is that all receipts have to be collected for all expenses. Yeah, so payment, transportation, equipment, if you buy some tents, we gotta keep the receipt. If we buy some power banks, we gotta keep that. So, yeah. Please, if you are in the course of this work, purchasing something for the work, keep the receipt. We need that. Okay. Okay, so now a discussion about the local workers. So the plan is to have 2 local workers per team and 4 children. So 2 of the local workers have the goal of setting up and managing the camp. So managing the food and the cooking. And also helping to carry some equipment and things like this. The other 2 local workers are supposed to help with the data collection itself. Yeah, so that is the plan. And the way that we envision this is that the local National Park staff have helped to identify like that. So this will be sort of coordinated as we go, but for those already in the room from the National Park, you can already keep in your mind, okay, who might those people be, who we're inviting. Any other points on that? I think that's quite fair. Okay. So the next part is about the equipment and field shoots. So you can see up here that I've already laid out the majority of the equipment that we will be bringing to the field and that we're also going to be testing. So tomorrow we are going to test on height measurement devices. So we have the Vertex, we have the Haglock, Nikon, True Pulse. So we'll learn how to use all of these or practice them if you already know how. For GPS, we have a Garmin GPS, but we also have Trimble. I'm not sure if people are familiar with either of those, but today we will get some practice with that. Okay, we also have simple things to mark trees and mark plots. And of course, DBH tape and things like that. We have compasses, we have a device to measure bird thickness, a camera to take pictures of species that are not identified yet, and the tablets and power banks for collecting all of the data. On top of that, we have the field shoots, which here. Okay, I think we can also pass some of these around and you can already get an idea of what they look like. Yeah, so you can keep that. Yeah. Okay. So I'll get one group for every people, so you can compare. And they go together. So you can look at the whole group. And then. Let's see if I can one group. So those are the field sheets that we have. Feel free to take a look. These are also the ones that we plan to take to the field. So I mean, if you want to write in them over the next days, we can print some new ones, but yeah, ideally those will also be the ones that you'll be taking to the field. Okay, we also have.
Dan pintar ya. Lanjut slide.
Yeah. Okay, great. So we also have tree tags that are currently in Fahutan's office. So for any tree tags that are missing on the trees, we can install new ones. Yeah, for any new trees, we can also install new tags. So all of that is coordinated and ready to go. Okay. Yeah, so that was all that I have for this sort of logistics. But I think that, yeah, my impression here is that a lot of these logistical discussions will be in a more closed group. Yeah, so I think that, yeah, feel free to ask any questions that you have. Yeah, but I'm getting the impression that it's already quite weird, so.
Jadi ada pertanyaan tentang tali siapnya mungkin
Jelas.
jelas.
Coba, nggak maksudnya jelas harus bertanya. Ini kan masalahnya ada kode-kode yang harus kita pahami. Nah, belum scoringnya lagi banyak sekali. Tidak bisa di bahasa Indonesia kan atau paling tidak di ya pada di bahasa Indonesia kan kalau udah di sederhanakan lagi.
Accessibility,
Your seats.
Sure, yeah.
example accessibility, you isi accessibility one word, bagaimana untuk
Maybe can it's means.
concept one,
Yes.
accessibility. What do you mean? More difficult for you? Yeah.
So this is for the difficulty of getting to the plot. Yeah, so if we look at where the plots, if we look at where the plots are distributed throughout the park, some of them are just not too far from the road, not too high elevation, something like that. But then we also have some that are very bigger access, yeah, so it's gonna be a whole day of hiking just to get to that. So it's just a little bit of a gradient. So now that we have the four sheets, I'm gonna go ahead into the next phase of the presentation, which is to actually go through what you're looking at. So we're starting with the tracking, the plot and the subplot variables. So if you look at the field sheet, this is gonna be the plot sheet, subplot sheet. Yeah. So hopefully any questions that you have that are coming up will be answered.
Jadi dia baru modulasi ini.
Okay, so now you should be looking at the field sheets. And I'll start by talking a little bit about the work progression, because this is really influencing what we're adding to the field sheet. So the main thing is that as we navigate to the plots using GPS or using the Trimble, we want to record and track the time to reach each plot. And part of the reason for doing this is later, as we think about developing the permanent monitoring system, you know, a more continuation of this for a permanent monitoring system, we want to be able to get an estimate of the time that one of these campaigns will take, right? So at the moment, we're guessing, okay, it's going to take 6 weeks to assess these 13 plots, but really having detailed information about how long does it take to hike to this area of the park, we can simulate all of that as long as we're getting this data. Once we arrive at the plot, we will use the plot maps that I passed on earlier to orient ourselves and to be sure that we're actually in the right place. Yeah. So as we go to the plot, we get there with the GPS, we look around, Hopefully we see some trees with some tags on them, and then we can really orient ourselves. After that, we're going to be marking the corners of the plot with PVC pipes because they were not permanently marked before. Okay, then we will be using this colorful markers that we have to set up plots, the plots. And then we'll be taking a picture of the plots. After that, we start with the plot sheets and record the different plot variables, so accessibility, human impact, and we start a timer. Because we really want to know, like, how long does it take for each of the plots? After that, we go to the subplot variables, then the standard variables, redwood, and we move through the plot, subplot by subplot until it's finished. Finally, we stop the timer, record the value, and get on with our day. Remember that we're using the tablet and the paper. Okay. So tracking the rest of the plots. As I mentioned, we have a garden PDF. So we will be testing this in the afternoon. We have it here. We can just, go out in front of the building, acquire satellites, test out adding waypoints and things like that. Okay, yeah, so workflow, I'm sure all of you have worked with GPS already, but we will start, calibrate, acquire satellites, select the plot for the waypoint, and we can from there. Okay, as I mentioned, we want to record all the tracks, so just a quick refresher on how to do that. Go to the track manager, set up a track log, record, and show on the map. It's really important here, the methods of recording, we want to be timed. Okay. And don't forget to save. Okay. Aside from that, we also have Trimble, which is basically like a telephone plus GPS. Many of you, I think, are already familiar with this as well. One of the caveats is that you have to first make a GIS project. So for the two Trimble that we have, they're already set up. Yeah, basically set up for navigation and tracking. Plots are already loaded into them. So we start with the basics. If you want to look at the sheets. Okay, so you have to report the plot ID, the team, and the date that it was assessed. And for these plot sheets, it's basically that each team is going to get one of these sheets. Yeah. So for one plot, you should just fill out the entire front first column, basically. Okay. So the first part is to describe where we started for the plot. So in this case, I mean, yeah, did we start from the road? Did we start from the helipad, something like that. So yeah, putting a short descriptive title for that. Then we want to keep the coordinates of where we started. Anyway, we will do that and then the time that we started the navigation. After we get all the way to the plot, we stop and just record that. Okay, so we made it to the plot. What's next? We will take the coordinates of the plot and start the timer, and basically go from there. Okay, so on the plot sheet, you'll notice two categorical variables. The first was accessibility. So yeah, as I described before, how difficult was it to actually get to this plot? It's a sliding scale. Then we also have a series of variables for human impact. So yeah, did we notice that there's been lots of extraction in this plot? Are there crops or agroforestry in the plot? Is there evidence of use in logging? Something like that. If we notice something that is not captured, go for other and then add it in. Okay, don't forget to take pictures of the plot. So we want one in every cardinal direction of the plot. Okay, any questions on the plot variables? I think they're quite straightforward. Okay, then we will move to the subplot variables. Okay, in this case, the subplot sheet that you see. Oh, yes.
Saya mungkin apa?
Baik.
Saya mungkin bertanya pakai ya, kalau kita lihat di plotnya ini 40 kali 60.
Oh, yeah, this is,
Ya, saya itu plot.
yeah,
Oh,
Di
40 by 60.
ya. Yang jadi belum terlalu saya paham. Ini ada beberapa subplot di dalam. Ada 1, 2, 3, 4, 20 subplot.
Ya.
Ya. Kalau ngomong dengan panduan misalnya untuk mendapatkan plot ini 40 kali 60 dengan kondisi misalnya yang dilakukan penelitian Pak Fabian 2011 itu sudah ada selang waktu sekitar 11 tahun ya. Ya, 11 tahun. Nah, kondisi 11 tahun itu untuk mendapatkan plot ini di hutan dengan misalnya panduan satu titik misalnya di plot ini, satu titik koordinat yang kita memang agak susah untuk mendapatkan plot yang pas yang dimaksud 40 kali 60 ini. Mungkin adakah tanda-tanda di lapangan misalnya di plot ini yang bisa membantu kita untuk mendapatkan plot ini? Karena kalau misalnya hanya dengan bantuan pembina, dengan misalnya kondisi cuaca yang tidak mendukung di lapangan untuk mendapatkan titik ini, kita agak susah mendapatkan plotnya, apalagi dalam kondisi misalnya sudah selang kurang lebih 11 tahun tadi. Ya jelas perubahan koordinasinya sudah sangat berubah. Terus selanjutnya kita tadi tracking issue yang dimaksud untuk misalnya untuk menuju ke plot yang dimaksud ini. Kita start trackingnya itu dari mana yang dimaksud tadi Pak Berdiri itu? Saya belum terlalu paham di situ.
Oh ya, kalau untuk start trackingnya itu dia bebas sih Pak. Makanya di sheet-nya itu. Di sini ada dia tulis text of description. Jadi di situ kita catat dari mana kira-kira kita mulai. Kalau misalnya kita mulai dari jalan, ya kita catat di sini dari jalan mana. Atau kita mulainya dari sungai, kita catat di sini. Kemudian ini kan ada take off koordinat.
Iya.
Jadi kita tinggal ambil di situ posisinya. Jadi bebas aja. Yang paling mudah diakses.
Dan itu paling bagian juga dari yang bisa kita kenali dengan sangat baik dan tidak bermain itu juga keluar kita membutuhkan bukan kita tahu kemana tapi berjalan atau apa saja dan kita bisa kenal secara kita kalau misalnya
Ya.
walaupun dia
Yang kita bisa kenali secara permanen.
kita sengaja dan sebagainya tapi itu supaya pada saat itu orang lain lagi datang itu bisa dikenali
Yang ada landmarknya lah. Gitu. Misalnya sungai, kalau sungai kan biasa bergelok, mungkin jalan atau apa.
Itu dapat plot yang pasnya ini memang ada kalau tidak datang di lapangan itu agak susah kita untuk mendapatkan plot yang dimaksudkan.
Reflect into based on the past research in 11 years before, it's very difficult to identify the plot to do the problem. So how we can?
That's a really good question. Yeah. Okay, so the question, well, yeah, I think I've already heard except for those information. Okay, so how to know that we're at the right place, right? How do we identify? Okay, so we have a few resources to do that. The first is that we have the coordinates of the plots from Tanya. So that's sort of the first pass, yeah? So put in the GPS track to that location. The next thing that we have to help us are the trees were tagged for. Yeah. So for many of the tags they're missing, and for many of the tags, they might be covered in moss or something like that. But what helps is that the plots are so big. Yeah. So with the GPS, we should be able to get close enough to the plot center. And I think it's gonna be a little bit of, okay, so we are on our way to the plot. And we see our first tag, right? So we're on our way to plot S850.
Iya, cuma ada beberapa TB yang nanti disuruh itu di kami itu nanti akan diperbarui nomornya.
Ya, maksudnya yang jangan jadi sulit ini nanti misalnya apa? Kalau coding ya, tapi belum tentu misalnya kita karena di sini A, nah belum tentu terkadang B, belum tentu saya mana B, ya belum tentu C. Di sini tidak bisa tahu, ya kan? Utara selatan ini arah plotnya ke selatan.
Ya.
Apalagi kan utara selatan apa? Cuma mengikuti kontur tadi sudah, ya mengikuti konturnya, lokasinya seperti apa. Tapi tidak ada masalah, yang penting tadi bahwa sebenarnya kita bisa temukan itu labelnya. Ya, dan apakah pasti ini label misalnya kayak ini, support A1 misalnya, labelnya itu. Ini ada keterangan dari Fabian.
Relasi promosi
What information?
Maybe in this plot, okay, in this plot, you have going back to the base.
Yes.
Yeah. Kalau internet dari koordinat yang seperti sebenarnya kan dia datang saya.
Blok kalau koordinat ini.
Tidak berarti ini ada koordinat
Itu
Yeah, exactly. So for, yeah, I guess I could say the data that we have the location, we have the species. Yeah, so if you look at the plot sheets that I sent around before, there's one that is a little bit brighter color, and that has the tag text. Yeah. And then there are also ones with a darker shade, and they have a code. So you see it's 4 letters, _4 letters. That's for this. So here, I can also pass these around. These have the codes. Yeah, that includes the codes for all of the species. So for example, if we go to a plot and we see, maybe we see some tags. Yeah, as you said, you can say, okay, I found tag 258. Look, that's in the plot C2, yeah? Okay, then we can orient ourselves and we can set the plot corners. Yeah.
But
Yeah, this is This is the one everyone wants to be. So here we have the plot.
Pasti ada di luar negara, mungkin bisa dilakukan di luar negara.
Does that answer the question? Thank you so much for the question. So yeah, that's exactly how it's gonna work. I do have some information from Fahutan. So he is most recently with the national park in December. With Roland and Nicole. And he did visit one of the plots. And he said for some of the tags, a lot of moss has grown over them. So yeah, you kind of have to search for them. Yeah, so in the field, we'll get an idea about how many are missing, how many are still there.
If you have
The location. We have the coordinate for the plot center, and then we have the location. Yeah, in that one. Yeah.
Koordinator sudah ada. Intinya begini Pak, kemarin saya dari pagi pajak yang di waktunya itu masih kalau 60 kali ini kita tidak tahu berapa luasnya, tapi di pohon teknik itu masih ada. Tapi ada beberapa pohon yang mungkin di jalur pendakian, ada orang lewat mungkin gitu, itu yang menjadi masalah.
Ini harusnya juga misalnya kita tidak tahu seperti ini ada
jadi penting sekali nih koordinat setiap spesiesnya. Ya nggak mungkin gambar ini kalau nggak punya koordinat. Kita bisa baku cari nanti ada istilahnya yang jadi scout, yang scout di depan, pegang apa, pegang GPS, yang satu juga yakinkan oh kode 002 ini anu misalnya, misalnya di belakang ada pengenal jenis, oh cocok, kan sebenarnya sebetulnya. Ya, nah yang kita butuhkan sekarang saya minta data koordinatnya.
Ya. Koordinat
Daripada kita bertanya-tanya, tadi kan, berapa lama tinggal baik masukkan di HP, masukkan di GPS, ayo kita cari. Jadi kalau itu sebenarnya
Koordinat yang plot.
bukan cuma plot aja, posisi di dalam plot. Ya.
In the location of the system. Yeah. So we didn't we don't have like a GPS coordinate for every, but instead we have the location. Yeah. And the plot center. Yeah.
Saya juga nanti kan jadi ya tidak ada masalah sih. Kerja keras itu. Bisa. Ya, karena ini sebenarnya kemarin kan kapal kan. Karena jadi sederhana aja. Dari sini kan terlihat diminta koordinator. Iya. Nah ini, oh hanya koordinat. Berarti dia mainnya saja. Iya. Berarti dia mainnya lagi.
Ini kan pertanaman kan ketika kita masuk di plot ini tanamannya berada di sini.
Iya.
Oh, kan kalau pengalaman kemarin titik nol inilah yang menjadi titik plot.
Titik nol ya di sudut bawah ini gue.
Iya, itu jadi koordinat. Kalau pengalaman ini belum betul.
Ada yang seperti pojok, ada yang seperti tengah.
Iya, kalau pengalaman itu terserah berikutnya nanti mana ceritanya di mana. Titik nol inilah yang menjadi kompas. Titik nol membuka plot gitu. Titik nol ini bisa bergeser berdasarkan kondisi di lapangan. Misalkan kita pernah ikut terminal di kota, tiba-tiba setelah di situ sudah jadi jelas. Berarti ada kemungkinan bisa bergeser titik plot, tapi biasanya titik nol ini yang diizinkan sebagai titik koordinat kita ke utara, ke selatan, itu disebut koordinat 40 ya, gitu. Ya. Cuma yang mungkin perlu diperjelas dengan koordinat plot itu supaya tidak missing sampai di plot.
Baik,
The GPS and code, which we use in the afternoon, it has the plots. Yeah, the plot coordinates already loaded. Yeah, I also have the data. I will get back to share.
Next situation for the plot coordinate.
Yes.
Karena kan orang harus supaya tahu masuknya dari mana gitu. Tahu masuk ke plot itu dari mana, dari desa mana paling dekat.
Kalau saya mungkin mau cari plot ini dari kondisi ya. Satu hari untuk ketemu yang
Harus dijelaskan gitu. Tidak bisa bilang.
This discussion reminded me that before we leave today, it would be great to send around a paper with where you can put your name, your number, and your email. Because then I can make some WhatsApp groups, we can communicate, I can send the coordinates of the plots and plot sheets and everything. So let's we can send around the sheet. So you're not about. Okay, great. So thank you everybody for your questions. Yeah, I hope everything got answered, or at least in on that way. Yes. And yeah, just a quick reminder, there's a lot of documents, right? There's a lot of information that you're sharing, and that's the point of today. Yeah, so please take your time, go through it all, ask any questions. And thank you so much for the questions. I think it's hopefully making some sense to everybody. I wanted to quickly just go through these codes a little bit more explicitly. Okay, so again, this is a remeasurement campaign, which is great because it means we have a lot of data. The shortcuts that we have is to take all of the tree species that were recorded in the first measurement and to create codes for these species. Right, so as you look at the plot maps, we have one full plot map just based on species identification. So this is the tool that we have. It's also loaded into Collect. So while we are using the Collect survey, you just have to type in the code and then it already links to the identified species. Okay. Great. All right, so we made our way to the plot. We set the corners and we took all the plot variables. And now we move on to the subplot, right? So we start with A1 and we move slowly one by one through all of the subplots. Okay. In each subplot, we have a small set of subplot variables. So the first is, of course, the subplot ID. And then we assess community cover. So this is done with the Habit app, which we'll also be trialing in the afternoon session. So yeah, we will have a chance to download that. In each subplot, we will do a quick count of the rocks on clusters. For many of them, it will be 0, but we expect to find some. And then finally, we have a categorical variable for the conditions. So is there a large fallen tree that's covering the plot? Do we see any alien species or fire damage? Or is there a footpath that plot? Okay, so this is what Habit app looks like. You can install it on an Android phone if you would like to try that yourself in the afternoon. We also have it on the tablets, so we can also try this out. So for the canopy cover variable for the subplot, we want that you are in the center of the subplot. Even though it's 10 by 10, we just assess for the center. And yeah, you'll see it's actually a very easy and functional tool. So yeah, you basically just click a button, the app takes an aerial photo, and then it sets the center cover. I can give people some time to download that. And the final thing for each subplot is to take one picture of each subplot. So just from the edge of the subplot, pointing in. And that was the end of the session to describe the tracking, plot, and subplot variables. The afternoon session is for testing out some of this equipment. But we've been moving quite fast. So I think we can break for lunch and meet again in about an hour. And in the meantime, feel free to ask me any questions that you have or to I think we will also finish early in the afternoon session. So we won't be here till 5 p.m. You'll all get out a bit early. Thank you.
What is the meaning NEA?
Oh,
Is it coordinate?
yeah, it's important. Right. So I can give a quick preview for tomorrow. It's gonna be this one.
Ada.
Yes.
Dia pakai Mary pakai WA?
Ya.
Baik. Di sini kan menggunakan bahasa WA. Bikin apa sih?
Iya.
Oh, nanti dibagikan di tempat.
Boros terus. Kalau mau beli
Ada
So country two, here, this is the maximization. So within each plot, we say, okay, is it at 20 meters? Is it 20 by 20? Yeah, so just like that. In this case, we'll be measuring in the subplot itself. So we measure from the corner of the subplot up, as you can see in this example. But you have to remember to add based on which subplot you're in.
Jadi ini posisinya kayaknya itu bukan tapi posisi pengukuran dari pusat plot 7,5 tapi dia harus ditambah 20 dan 10 selalu 20 dan 10 ya.
So the value for the trees is in the whole subplot. So if you look at the values on that sheet, they range from 0 to 60 or 0 to 40. Yeah, but when we actually measure in the field, you don't measure if the tree is here, you don't measure from here, right? You measure from here, and then you have to add. Yeah, so C4 you would add 20, right? And then here you would add. Yeah. That's 30.
Jadi 20-10-nya itu dari ini. Ini kan 40. Ini ke sini 20 pasti kan ya. Ini ke sini 10. Gitu. Kalau ini berarti 20-20. Kalau kita dari titik plot 7,5 dan 5,0.
Thank you, everybody. To enjoy your life.
Thing will change. So we just
It's so fast. Okay, we'll start again at 1. After lunch. We'll start again at 1.
Lumayan fisik. Setelah itu
Like it's making us even though.
sometimes
ini maksud dari turun berliannya Pak. Belum.
Kemarin ada. Ini saya tertampung nih Pak kawan. Cuman sudah lupa ya.
Iya. Itu banget. Enggak. Waktu soal mengambil yang dia sudah di desa tertentu. Iya.
Kalau ini siapa yang pakai lebih masa panen? Oh gitu, tapi semua yang ada di dia.
Belum ada yang harus online ya. Kalau persis saat ini mungkin kan ya mungkin sekitar itu
Ya lah, dari bagian berapa ya?
perwakilan dari bidang 2, bidang 3.
Oh,
Pak Hari dan Pak Lulu dengan dua makhluk kalau saya dengan kawan ini dari bidang salah satu
oh gitu.
foto sama gitu.
Oh nanti kan bergantung di mana lokasinya dia ya, di masuk di wilayah yang mana ya?
Iya iya.
Berarti foto banyak sekali.
Terus dua dengan apa? Lalu
Kali. Iya kan?
itu saja yang bisa.
Dari penentu titiknya sampai.
Ya, titik ikat pokoknya yang penting buat.
Iya.
Ya.
Iya.
Kalau saya tidak ada juga terkait dengan misalkan kayak ini tuh. Saya kayak aksesibilitas yang saya katakan itu. Ini kan sangat subjektif. Jadi ini harus didefinisikan sebagai misalkan apakah dari parameter dari jalan, dari jalan, parameter dari jalan Itu untuk itu data yang makin ini tim kan ada 2 tim yang tidak pakai. Kalau tidak ikut tidak masalah, dia bisa menjelaskan. Tapi kalau yang tidak ikut, itu punya kesalahan persepsi supaya antara tim satu dengan tim lainnya pada saat dia mendiskusikan kondisi plotnya itu harus disampaikan kali ya bahwa detailkan ini secara ini dan ini harus terukur bisa tidak supaya siapapun timnya pun itu bisa mendiskusi dengan sangat baik mengenai kondisi-kondisi seperti ini. Misalkan kok kemudahan akses mudah diakses kan
Itu dia
apa? Kita dari
beda ini persepsinya kita dengan misalnya dari masing-masing orang berbeda persepsi.
tapi kemudian sudah didefinisikan berumur itu definisinya bisa diukur saja kan. Yang kayak gitu sudah kita
Orang kampung pasti dia bilang bukan ini
ini penentuan pada saat dia penentuan voltnya itu arah arah mata angin. Misalnya dia menentukan arah terus kan, jadi kemana saja kita mungkin selalu arah di utara. Misalkan kok atau dia arah di barat itu, jadi orang bisa dengan mudah sama untuk ukur. Jadi misalnya saya katakan 5 meter kemana
Dia kemana hanya
karena berapa karena kalau itu supaya
nanti pada saat praktiknya nanti di
ini nggak bisa jadi detailkan semuanya.
Iya.
Supaya
pada saat
sama-sama persepsinya orang itu
praktiknya itu nanti kita hanya bertanya. Tidak. Kalau kita ini kalau masalah dewan,
oh ya nanti ada yang masih tahu satu di sini tahu sedang bareng-bareng ini dari mana jadi biasa ada itu.
oke. Jadi yang ini depan di ruangannya seperti ini ada yang katanya sebelum masuk di ruangan ada dia di bidang
Tidak. Kita tidak tahu kasih dari duluan.
tapi
Dari kita itu.
Tidak bisa.